Okay, we are recording. Yay, I'm excited. So I'm going to share my screen here and start this PowerPoint. Start. Hopefully that looks, everyone can see that okay. It doesn't say recording on my end. Erica, will you double check that it is on yours, that it says on your screen recording?
I don't see, oh, yeah, up in the upper left-hand corner, it says recording.
Okay, we've got this. Technology and I are not friends sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm really excited today to be sharing this information. This is information that really has changed my life and my family's life. And it's super exciting, especially because this is new research. This is literally changing how people practice medicine. So I'm really excited to be sharing today. So first, and I'm going to have to move this little screen around. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay. First of all, we're going to be talking about this complex universe that we've kind of just now really figured out, and we'll probably have new discoveries. It feels like weekly there's a new discovery. But one of the things to really understand is that our gut is this whole complex universe. It's called the microbiota. It's actually our second brain, and it's possibly the most important one. It's 1,000 times louder than our brain. And in 2012, this is when we really kind of started to understand the full picture here. And we're able to, really understand and map what's going on in there. And the microbiota, a lot of people think about, beneficial bacteria in our gut, and we think about probiotics. Well, it's much more complex than that. The microbiota can help us, definitely it's that beneficial bacteria, but that beneficial bacteria makes vitamins for us, helps us digest starches, makes neurotransmitters for us, and sends messages to the brain and more. So it's a huge gut-brain connection. And like I said, it's our second brain. And there's these very complex systems and reactions and things that happen within this microbiota. So I want to kind of go into that a little bit. First, I want to tell you why I'm here. One of the big things for me is that as a kiddo, at an early age, I struggled with digestion and energy levels and a bunch of different things. And that progressed in my son. It's kind of a generational thing, and I'll get into that in a second. But with my son, it progressed, and he had severe food allergies, some concentration issues, and I really sort of dived into this subject because it's one thing to ignore yourself. It's a totally different thing to ignore your child. And I couldn't watch what was going on for him. When he was 1, he was showing early signs of autism. He wasn't making eye contact. He was a super picky eater. Before that, he was a colicky baby. He had a lot of eczema issues. And now, knowing what I know, all of that was, the baseline was his gut was imbalanced. And so I'm so forever grateful that the doctor that shared some of this information with me 13 years ago got us on a road to some major recovery. And again, I'm excited to share that information. Okay, so first things first, one of the ways that it's important to understand how our gut is colonized, because this makes a lot of sense sometimes. So when people are like, oh, okay, I was born by C-section, that makes sense as to why I'm different than my sister who was born vaginally. So early colonization happens through birth. And so if you are born C-section, that all of that, good beneficial bacteria isn't getting into your body through the birth process. It's the first thing that, maybe the doctor's gloves touched or that your mom touched. And so different colonization happens depending on how you're born. So that's something to pay attention to. Diet has a huge role in terms of what your microbiota looks like. And then this whole, being sanitary, that started in the 50s, kind of cleanliness is next to godliness. And this whole, constant hand sanitizers and all of these things, that's really drastically impacted what our microbiota looks like. Medications play a huge role in what our microbiota looks like. In fact, I wrote this out here because I thought it was really profound. We think about antibiotics, harming our good gut bacteria, but we don't really quite know how. And each antibiotic affects it in a different way. So penicillins allow bacteria found in the bowel to move up into the intestines where they don't belong. Tetracyclines alter the protein structure in the gut wall, causing the immune system to attack the gut. Mycins can completely wipe out good E. coli, leaving individuals susceptible to the bad strain of E. coli. And steroids almost always equal a fungal overgrowth. And that was interesting for me because you don't think about, oh, I'm on steroids, I need to take a probiotic. You think about, I'm on antibiotics, I need to take a probiotic, but steroids as well. And the contraceptive pill is devastating to the gut. And unfortunately, in my lifetime, I was pretty much on all of these different medications. And so my gut was a mess. And then lifestyle can play a role, and genetics can play a role, but there's a lot that goes on with that. So I'll go into that in a little bit. Definitely understand that 70% of our immune system resides in our GI tract, so it's very important what's going on in there. And like I did say, there's a lot of the neurotransmitters. 3/4 of the body's neurotransmitters are produced in the gut. And again, it's so important to be exposed to all these different microorganisms. There are helpers. And I have this slide over here that reminds me to talk about dysbiosis. So when we have a balance of good bacteria to bad, we don't have to be perfect. We can have some bad bacteria, but we want about 80% good guys to 20% bad guys. And anything other than that is dysbiosis. And a lot of people today have way more bad bacteria than they have good. And what they see with that is that it has a huge role in what our overall body weight is. They discovered this by transferring the microbiome from an overweight mouse into a thin mouse and found that the thin mouse became overweight and vice versa. Actually, right now, the only transplantation allowed is for a very, devastating, and I can't remember the name of it. It's antibiotic resistant gastritis or something like that. I have to look that up again. But that's the only thing that a microbiota transplant is allowed for in the US. But they are experimenting with this in Europe and other countries because they're seeing it have a huge, profound impact on people that have stubborn weight. So that's an interesting thing. But there's a lot to know that we can actually shape our own microbiota without having to do a transplant, because it's kind of an icky process. You can look that up. I don't have time to go into all of that. But so that imbalance is called dysbiosis. And one of the ways that we see dysbiosis affect us, again, our gut is 1,000 times louder than our brain, is that we have almost no willpower when it comes to having too much bad bacteria. And down here I have checked this guy for dysbiosis stat, because he's literally, shoving a cheeseburger in his face. And sometimes when that brain is signaling, looking at the donut and the bad bacteria is going, I need that or I'm going to die, it's overriding your willpower completely. So having more beneficial bacteria is super important when it comes to making good food choices. Okay, and then what is leaky gut? So when I talk about dysbiosis, some people will say leaky gut. Some people will say, there's all different kinds of labels for this. But general signs of leaky gut or dysbiosis is chronic fatigue, food allergies, general and seasonal allergies, joint pain, arthritis, skin rashes, nutritional deficiencies, and a weakened immune system. More severe conditions from leaky gut include IBS, Crohn's, celiac, diabetes, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and Hashimoto's. And Hashimoto's is an autoimmune issue that affects the thyroid, and it's one of the largest growing autoimmune issues. Brain-related symptoms that are a sign of leaky gut are mood disorders, brain fog, anxiety, depression, and then more deeper neurological symptoms are Alzheimer's, autism spectrum disorder, fibromyalgia, general anxiety, which is funny that that's up here too, but anyway, headache, migraine, MS, and neuropathy. So all different, it affects our body in so many different ways. It's so important. Okay, and we truly are what we eat. I like to throw up this slide. I do these classes in person. Yeah. What's that?
Oh, nothing. I'm laughing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
These are really funny. This is just an example, and it makes me like, okay, we're going to remember that we are what we eat.
Yeah.
Sugar, refined carbs, hydrogenated oil, and processed food chemicals have a devastating effect on our microbiota. I won't go into all of that today because I just want to, again, teach the concept and give you some solutions here. But one of the sneaky things that we don't really realize is how much sugar we're consuming as a society. And I usually have people guess how many packets of sugar is in this small orange soda bottle. It's not very big. It's one of the, the smallest ones. And people guess, all different things. Well, there's 22 packets. And I think that's shocking. And I've said this a million times and I still think it's shocking. That's a lot of sugar. You would never stir. I mean, it's about the size of a tall glass of iced tea, right? You would never stir 22 packets of sugar into an iced tea. And yet we're drinking that in our sodas. We're getting that in our bread. We're getting that in our corn puffs and in our sandwich meats, all of these things. And so I don't mean to pick on sugar, but it is an incredibly addictive cycle. And it's interesting because at the turn of the century, Americans were only really eating about 4 pounds a year of sugar. And now they're guessing that it's up to 250 pounds per year. And when this slide was done, it was 130 pounds, but it's like rising daily. It's crazy. And that's 3,500 pounds in someone's lifetime. And it's an amazingly addictive substance. Processed sugar, they say, is as addictive as cocaine and heroin. When you have this blood sugar cycle, you eat it, you crave it, it releases dopamine, the brain gets addicted to that. There's a mass insulin surge. Those high levels of insulin cause immediate fat storage, and the body craves the loss of that sugar high because now all that insulin is there, and now it's like this, you're having these highs and lows. So now that craving leads to low blood sugar levels, causes increased appetite, and then again, eat the donut or I'm going to die. Your microbiota gets in there, and the bad bacteria is overriding. So it's this very addictive cycle, and it's hard to break the sugar habit. And I'm excited for Ericka to share in just a little bit about her story with this. And again, I'm sometimes bad news Betty, and then I like to paint the good picture and give you some solutions. We're not talking all sugar. Not all sugar is created equal. White sugar is processed 27 times, including bleaching. And so it's very unrecognizable to the body. It's hard to digest it. It actually has been known to paralyze the immune system for up to 6 hours. And this is why I really want to rename the cold and flu season the sugar holiday season, because when you think about how much sugar we're eating from, Halloween to Easter, it's a lot. It's a lot of sugar. And if you're, one exposure to sugar is paralyzing your immune system for 6 hours, we can understand why we're not getting in front of that cold and flu season. And so there's natural sweeteners, so you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, that are a lot easier for your body to digest, and might have some things like molasses has amazing levels of minerals and things too. So again, good news. The good news is our microbiome changes fast. And I like to kind of point this out too, because some people think, oh my gosh, I'm never going to win this battle. Well, the average lifespan of a beneficial bacteria in the microbiome is 20 minutes. You can really drastically affect your microbiome in a day. And not to say that your bad bacteria is not going to be reproducing right alongside your good bacteria, but you can win that war. You can, slowly win that war over time. And it's really exciting. So, and then what about genetics? So a lot of clients, I'm a certified health coach through the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute. And a lot of my clients are like, well, diabetes, cancer, all of these things, obesity runs in my family. Well, we are not our genetic destiny. And I love to be able to teach people this, because along with having mapped the microbiome, we've mapped the human genome. And it's very, very exciting. And we are finding that scientists are finding that you can turn off bad genes and turn on good genes based on diet and lifestyle. So you literally can turn off a cancer switch and now not pass that on to your children. So you completely can change the genetic destiny of your children by turning off your bad genes, no longer passing them on to those kiddos. And now they're never going to have to battle that, which is incredibly exciting. And I tease that I'm a mom on a mission, because Yale says this is the first generation of children that have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And that's not okay with me. So I love being able to teach this. I love being able to make a difference. And so again, genetics are not your destiny. You can really shape that. And then another thing to understand, so again, about the microbiome, it's really interesting. We are born 100% human, and we die with 90% of our cells not human. So our microbiome outweighs us exponentially. So in fact, those 90% of our cells in our body when we expire as adults, is our microbiome. There's 100 trillion of them. So again, that's just profound to me. We're born with none of them, and we end up with 100 trillion of these guys. If we took them out and weighed them on a scale if we took them off our bodies, because they live inside and outside of us, off our bodies and out of our bodies, it would be 5 to 6 pounds of these invisible good guys. I mean, that's amazing to me. So I love to keep it simple. I'm a health coach, like I said, for children and families and adults. So I love to keep it simple with kids and just say, are you feeding your good bugs with that choice or bad bugs? And I'll show you in a second how to feed your good bugs. And then something else to know, sometimes it's not fun when you start winning that war on the bad guys, because as you're eating more healthful foods and as your body is getting what it needs to fight off those bad guys, you're going to go through detox. You're going to go through die-off symptoms. And die-off symptoms are no fun. Gas, bloating, headaches. There's a lot of discomfort that goes along with that. So sometimes as people are eating more fruits and vegetables, they're like, oh, I don't feel good, and that's really just the bad guys leaving. So once you get past that, you'll feel so much better. So I always want to warn people that as they make these switches, that discomfort isn't forever. And again, there's so many reasons to win that war. So again, it's the 80-20 rule, 80% good guys to 20% bad guys. And something to know, prebiotics versus probiotics. A lot of people say, well, I take a probiotic. Well, the difference between a probiotic and what we find in nature is that they have estimated there's about 35,000 different beneficial bacteria strains. And a probiotic, the largest amount of different strains I saw in one probiotic was 35. Of course, they throw billions of that, 35 different ones into the probiotic. So it'll just, survive your stomach acid, let alone get down into your lower GI. Well, what they've found that again, that's a huge difference between 35,000 different kinds to the 35 we can probably get isolated in a store. And what they've found is getting, raw fermented veggies is so much more powerful. 1 teaspoon of sauerkraut, just for an example, has more beneficial probiotics than a whole bottle of probiotics. So that's a fun, inexpensive, sneaky trick. And I do say, be sneaky and cleanse the tongue of young people, because what we'll see often is that picky kids have a lot of yeast in their mouth. And so as they're eating the broccoli that would kill the bad guys, or the sauerkraut, it tastes horrible to them. They're literally like having a gag reflex. But as you can cleanse that yeast out of the mouth, that food will taste completely different. So one of my sneaky mom tricks is to sneak, a tablespoon of sauerkraut into a smoothie that has like pineapple and blueberries and other things that's going to mask that, but it's going to give them those beneficial good guys that's going to go in and start winning the war. And the other thing that we want to make sure we're having enough of is prebiotics. So we can take a bunch of probiotics, but if we're not giving a prebiotic, this is like the little Pac-Man is the probiotic, and this prebiotic is the FOS, fructooligosaccharides or oligosaccharides. That's a digestive resistant starch that only feeds our beneficial good guys. So it's a prebiotic. So very important to have that too. So in order to repair the microbiome, we need to do things like spend time in nature. We actually get beneficial bacteria from nature. In fact, I listened to a podcast that was fascinating, that some of the most beneficial organisms grow we get exposed to those in places that have ferns. And here in the Pacific Northwest, we have tons of ferns. So I'm like, yay, go out and sniff your ferns. I'm a total weirdo, I know. But so time in nature, eat plenty of raw plants, avoid antimicrobial drugs and toxic body care products. They're very devastating to the microbiome. Exercise and manage stress, eat small amounts of fermented veggies, eat fiber-rich plants, and try not to eat late. Our microbiome actually starts kind of going at 6 o'clock, so our digestion is not as good. And then this is super exciting. This is one of those new discoveries that, again, is kind of brand new. They're finding that breastfed babies, it's so important for their microbiome that it's actually seeding their microbiome through the breast milk with this very specific, individualized, beneficial bacteria. And then the main component in breast milk is oligosaccharides, a prebiotic. So it's like this incredible gut tonic. And they're seeing that beneficial bacteria goes and completely lines the digestive tract of the infant, protecting them from pathogens. And so this is exciting to me, because not all moms can can nurse. And so if we're discovering stuff like this, this is giving hope for bottle-fed babies, that we can maybe introduce this very incredible, very unique probiotic that they've just discovered. So exciting information. Okay, let's see if I can get to the next slide here. And then I giggle at this one. So this was the only thing I could find that said feed your microbiome and had plants, but they're well, I can't hear in the back. So fruits and vegetables are your main source of beneficial probiotics. And not to mention antioxidants and other things that are so incredibly important. And I usually ask people, how many servings do you think we're supposed to be getting a day? Because it's confusing. It used to be like more matters, and then it was 5 a day, and 5 a day, and then it was more matters, and then it's like half your plate now. It's the government plate, where 3/4 of your plate needs to be plants at every meal. And the current recommendation is actually 7 to 13, and actually I've heard more recently 9 to 13 servings of fresh raw fruits and vegetables the size of your fist every day. Not a lot of people are doing that. In fact, the current statistic is that we're only getting 2.5 servings as a society in the U.S. So that's a huge difference between what we should be eating and what we are eating. And then just so you know, if you're an athlete, if you're working out an hour in any 24-hour period, it's more like 16 to 18 servings that's recommended because of the oxidative stress due to exercise. But plenty of benefits due to exercise, but you just need some to protect yourself because you're taking in more oxygen and causing more free radical damage. So prebiotics are things like garlic, onions, banana, asparagus, chicory. Probiotics are things like sauerkraut. That's super powerful. Actually, cabbage has a lot of beneficial bacteria just living on it. Most fruits and vegetables do. Cabbage in particular has a lot. So you can literally just make your own sauerkraut by adding some, shredding it, adding some salt, mashing it together, and storing it in your pantry for about 7 to 10 days. You can find tutorials online on how to do that, and you're getting lots of beneficial probiotics. And then other fermented veggies, tempeh, kombucha, all of those have different probiotics. And then something to mention really quick here is that, fruits and vegetables not only have probiotics, but they have a wide variety of phytonutrients. And this is a great example. We've only discovered 13 vitamins, and there's about 15 minerals that the body needs in small amounts. And so a multivitamin with maybe some herbs, like the best, food-based multivitamin, maybe has about 50 ingredients. Well, this is 400 of the known ingredients in an apple, and they actually estimate that an apple has 10,000 ingredients, known and unknown. And so it would take 26 of these pages to list everything in an apple. So there's a huge difference between whole food and a vitamin. So we cannot bridge the gap again with vitamins. And like I said, this is generational. So my story starts with my mom. She had seasonal allergies, and then me, I had food allergies and other intolerances, and I had a lot of fatigue. And then with my son, it progressed to brain issues. You usually see from seasonal to food allergies to brain issues. And so when I learned all of this information and started repairing my microbiome, my next pregnancy was drastically different. My daughter Mia has never had any of the issues that he had, has never been on an antibiotic for being ill. I mean, she's got the most incredible immune system I've ever seen, and her focus is incredible. Just a very, very different pregnancy and a very, very different baby, and today, very different child. But what I'm happy to say is that I've been able to repair Gabe's microbiome quite a bit as well. And today he is a very bright 14-year-old, would never know that he was on the spectrum. And I really think it would have been very different if we hadn't learned what I'm about to share with you here in a second. And I just want to show you this. This is me in my early 20s. This is before kids. I was constantly puffy, constantly trying to lose this excess weight, just to not feel good at all. So this was me in dysbiosis. Okay. And I want to just invite you, I want to take a second. I feel like that's the fire hose of information. And so I want to just take a second and say that we are part of a healthy living community that we love to share with people. We love to, invite people to take one simple change at a time. It does not have to be overwhelming. There's an incredible healthy living website that myself or Erica or whoever invited you to watch this can share with you. And it has great things like webinars, cookbooks, things that you can just kind of continue your education and take one step at a time. And so we really are excited to share that with you. And then I want to tell you what a doctor recommended to me when Gabe was 1. I actually was super concerned. I flew him to Baton Rouge to see a specialist. She had her MD, her naturopathic degree, and her doctorate in physical chemistry. Very educated person. And this is me, again, pregnant with Gabe. Lots of swelling, lots of preeclampsia, if I can move this around here. And then me 10 years later, pregnant with my 3rd daughter. Hugely different pregnancies. And then this is my son photobombing all of the vegetables he likes to eat now. So we got to, definitely shape his tastes and really change what he was consuming through an incredible product that this doctor recommended to me called Juice Plus. And it's a really easy way to get 45 to 50 plants in your body every single day, over 50 if you are doing the omegas. But this Juice Plus powders are incredible. This is the fruit blend, the veggie blend, and the berry blend, and that's 30 different fruits, veggies, and berries. And then the complete shake has another 15 plants, and it has an incredible amino acid complex full, complete protein, wonderful fiber, a prebiotic, the fructooligosaccharides that I mentioned earlier, and the capsules have a wonderful probiotic. So you're getting this incredible gut tonic along with the nutrition from 45 different plants. So we really just started flooding his body, and it really made sense to me because it was just food. It actually has a food label, and I'll grab a bottle up here. It's a food label. It has a nutrition facts label, so not a supplement label. It does not have a child-proof cap. It's just, a pop top, because this is food. You can't OD on it. It's not something that, you'd have to call poison control if your kiddo got into it, because it's powdered produce. So it comes in a capsule that you can open up into food. It comes in a chewable form. It's all the tens of thousands of phytonutrients because it's just crushed and mashed fruits and vegetables. It's non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free. It's NSF certified to be pure. It's actually a third party that comes in, randomly pulls batches of Juice Plus, and is tested for things like heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, molds, bacteria, the list goes on. And because of that NSF certification, Olympic athletes even can take Juice Plus because we know it's completely pure. And then on top of that, they have over 35 clinical studies, which is incredible, and on a wide variety of topics like cardiovascular disease, immune system support. They've seen that it can literally balance the immune system with 80 days, not only bring down those B cells that are those cells that go out and attack the body and those autoimmune imbalances, but brings up the T cells and the natural killer cells, improves gum health, reduces oxidative stress. This is one of the big reasons that the specialist recommended it to us, because kids on the spectrum have an overwhelmingly large amount of oxidative stress, and Juice Plus is clinically proven to reduce that oxidative stress by 75%. So that's huge for, everyone, because we're constantly bombarded. In fact, the statistic is that our cells are like bombarded with oxidative hits about 10,000 times a day. So that's a lot. We need to protect ourselves. Reduces whole body systemic inflammation, protects DNA. It's been studied in skin health. I mean, the list is long. I won't go into that, but I'm really excited because they are looking at Juice Plus and how it affects the microbiome. They're doing an intestinal permeability study, and they're looking at how it shapes the microbiome. And this is one of kind of the preliminary findings that actually I was at a continuing education thing over the weekend that I got to sneak this slide from the presentation. And what they saw was they had people fasting. They fed them the Juice Plus capsules, and after 10 hours, 2 nutrients started rising in their bloodstream. So they hadn't eaten anything. They hadn't even drank water. This is kind of I feel bad for these study participants. But because of the Juice Plus, their microbiome started taking what was in the Juice Plus capsules and increased 2 nutrients. So it was absolutely incredible finding, because this is proving that the capsules also are a prebiotic in a very unique way. So very exciting study. I can't wait for that to be published. And then this is another great illustration. This was my kind of my reality for a long time, just being in this puffy yo-yo diet dysbiosis stage. And I was not detoxing. In fact, actually the sickest person on this slide is this one here. This is what they call skinny fat, where you have a lot of toxins, you're starving yourself of calories, you're over exercising, And now your body is more susceptible to those toxins. They can start attacking your organs. Excess fat actually traps those toxins and protects your vital organs. So what they see with, and this is totally my experience, if you can cleanse yourself with fruits and vegetables, that's the colorful fruits and vegetables, kind of break out those heavy metals, those toxins, and then the greens kind of wrap them up and shuttle them out safely. So there's this really neat detox phase 1, phase 2 cascade that if you're really interested in this, we have an incredible biochemist that goes over this. And this is part of a 10-day shred program. It's a 10-day jump start. It's a 4-month program with a 10-day jump start that really gets those toxins mobilized and out. And since doing that, it's amazing. I don't hold excess weight. I don't have these crazy food cravings, and my energy levels are even keeled, and it's been such a blessing for me. And I'm so glad that I jumped on board taking Juice Plus when Gabe was recommended it so many years ago. And I'd love to stop my share here. Actually, these are a couple of friends of mine that have also experienced that kind of yo-yo diet, and through the several shred 10s. I mean, my friend Erica is down 55 pounds from a size 14 to a size 2. I mean, just a drastic change. But I want to stop really quick and have Erica share her story because it's pretty profound as well.
Hi, thank you. I feel like I can just go now because you said it all. No, but thank you, April. Very thorough. I never hear that enough. Like, there's always such good reminders, and I feel like I'm always learning something new from April. Such a jewel in my toolkit of life. So I have struggled with addiction most of my life, and been able to get over a lot of things, but more recently I have struggled with the sugar addiction, and April touched on that, and that's what I'm going to talk about. In my past, I went on such crazy binges that it would put me in bed. And then I'd wake up feeling terrible, going, how did I get here again? I can't believe this is happening to me. Why am I doing this? And I'd go to hot yoga and try to sweat it out. And it was just the same thing over and over. It was like this vicious cycle. And the thing is I eat pretty healthy. And I felt like, I had all these books to try and help me. I tried hypnotherapy. I tried so many different things, and it was like that brain that April talked about. I felt like the cravings were so uncontrollable. I couldn't, no matter, it was like I knew it was bad for me, but I'd do it anyway. And I felt like I was sabotaging all the good things that I did, and being a yoga teacher, I feel like I need to be a better example. I need to lead by example. And I just wasn't, so when I it was nuts. But since I've been taking Juice Plus and flooding my body with all these great nutrients and whole foods, I feel like there's been this profound shift. I don't have the crazy cravings like I used to, and I feel so much more even, I mean, my moods, my energy, my focus and concentration. I mean, I still get crazy some days because life is moving fast and there's lots going on, but it's a good thing, right? So, but I've also struggled with anxiety, and and it all kind of goes hand in hand. So I feel like since I've made this shift, I was on medication for anxiety and sleep, and then I slowly shifted to an herbal supplement. But since I've been doing the Juice Plus, I haven't even needed the herbal supplement. and I didn't even realize that until one day I was just like, wow, I'm sleeping so much better without anything. Isn't this great? And so it only makes sense to me that if it's helping me with something that's been so so strong and such a hard thing to control, I've since learned how to have those sweet treats, you know, but I don't have to go overboard, and I feel so much better, and I, you know, share that with others, and but that if it's helping me with this, then what's it going to do down the road, you know, for aging and preventative, and so, you know, I don't end up with, you know, dementia, or, you know, it's just I feel really, really passionate about this path that I'm on, and I'm just I feel really, really blessed, and I thought I might cry when I did this, just because it was so hard, you know, and I was just like, what's wrong with me? But anyway, so it's I think it's an epidemic that we need to address, and so I'm happy to share my story. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, because I love it. I gave a version of this talk when I met Erica, and it was like, I love how life works. I was looking for a yoga teacher, you know, she was looking for answers, and here we meet, and it's like, oh, I need to take your yoga class. She's like, and I need to know more about what that's about, because I'm struggling. And I love that you talk about dementia prevention, because they're actually calling dementia and Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, because it's really hugely related to your sugar consumption. So yeah, it's been such a pleasure to be on this journey with you. And yeah, I love that, you know, we just get blessed by being able to, you know, share with people. It's just information, and it can make a big difference, and people can make, you know, little changes or drastic changes. So thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I'm going to share my screen one more time, and then we'll wrap this up. Let's see if I can get to that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and so again, this isn't just about adults either. We're shaping the future of kids too. And I love that my daughter, when she goes out the door with, you know, an amazing fruit and vegetable shake instead of, you know, maybe oatmeal or something a little more empty for breakfast, her concentration level is well into lunch. She's not having that high and low, you know, blood sugar issue. And I would notice that, like, if she had cereal for breakfast at about 10 o'clock, she's starving and she's laying on her desk. I would volunteer in her class. And then when she would have a shake for breakfast, and, like, you know, she'd add kale, she gets real creative with these, and some amazing, and she puts the complete shake in there as well. She was well even keeled, well into to lunch at noon. So very exciting. And I love that Juice Plus is safe for babies. It's safe for elderly. It's safe for anyone, really. And it really is an affordable investment. I love that you can get the nutrition from 30 different fruits, vegetables, and berries for less than $2.50 a day. And I actually bought, as an experiment, I bought an organic peach in season where they're grown, like here locally on the other side of the mountains here. And it was $2.50. So it was local. You know, it should have been like the least expensive thing, and it was $2.50. So that's a huge difference. And then the shakes are awesome too, and they're just about $2 a serving. And our Shred 10 program, again, it's a 4-month program, and it involves a 10-day jumpstart where you're doing 2 shakes a day and taking the trio. So it's a really great jumpstart that really can get in front of that, you know, crazy 1,000 times louder second brain while you're winning that war. And one of the things that I love about Juice Plus is it's free for children. They have a huge heart for kids. So as an adult, you can sponsor a child, and Erica's actually sponsoring a child to get free Juice Plus. And you can actually receive free Juice Plus for that child of your choosing. You can be related or not, for up to 4 years. So it's an incredibly generous program. And this is actually the largest longitudinal study of its kind. It's the Children's Health Study. They've actually had 1.5 million participants now. So this is a really incredible retrospective study. And they're seeing things like they're eating more fruits and vegetables. They're drinking more water. They're eating less fast food. They're getting off prescription and over-the-counter medications. And it's very, very exciting that we're really changing the health picture for kids today. And I love, again, through this healthy living community, we have incredible Facebook groups that are free. We have free cookbooks, this children's program, this Healthy Living Ambassador Guide that you can get online. That's awesome. There's live education events like this, and live events in person. We do like salad in a jar parties, and we help like do meal prepping together, where we're just supporting one another and making those simple changes and getting better nutrition. So we really just invite you to join us, get back with the person that invited you to watch this, because there are local events probably in your area. And then again, all of these amazing free online resources. And I love to just kind of encourage you guys really to think about what path you'd like to take. So maybe you just want to check out the free resources and make one simple change at a time. That's awesome. And we'd love to help you with that. Maybe you need more of a path, like I need a program, I need a roadmap here. Maybe, just taking some Juice Plus makes sense to you because you're not getting what you should be getting. Or maybe you want to, kind of take a deeper look and do the Shred 10 with us. We do that once a month as a group. And then maybe you want to kind of take the road less traveled, and you can think about some people that you would love to share this information with. We'd love to show you how we do that. It's a wonderful, fun community that we like to call the Juice Plus family. And again, just free education. There's so many different, I really encourage you to look at our Healthy Living Revolution website. There's incredible webinars on brain health, inflammation. I mean, the list is long, and just really just take that time to love yourself and educate yourself about some of these topics and make those different choices. So just want to thank you guys for your time, and hope you have a great day and that you learned some stuff. Thank you, Ericka, again, for sharing. Have a great day. Bye. I'm going to stop the recording.